Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of our Tuesday Night Live show. Great to be back. Great to be part of everything. A lot to talk about once again. Huge week. It has been for the Rugby League world, so plenty to talk about. As always, get involved, have your say, like, comments, all that sort of thing to make sure you get involved, be part of it, help spread the word, and be involved with all things Rugby League. Obviously, thank you to Freedom Finance Group. Once again, if you do have any financial needs that you are needing help with, please reach out to Con and his team. Let him know that we sent you. He'll definitely look after you, and we can basically go from there. Again, any sponsors out there that are interested to talk to the page, get help spreading their businesses, get some reach out there and getting to more valuable customers, let us know. Please reach out to us via the DMs or email joel@leagueofinches.com.au. and we'll help you out there. Boys, Trav, Jake, how are we both, Trav? How's things?
Yeah, going really well, mate. 3 more days to go till I'm on school holidays. Let's go. Bring it on. Can't wait.
Yeah. How good is it? Jake, how's things, mate?
Yeah, good. A week and 3 days until I'm on school holidays, so I'm not too mad about that either, to be honest with you. I had a quick... Just got to give a quick shout out. There's one of the kids at school said he wants to watch tonight. It's his birthday. He asked for one, so I'm giving him a bit of a shout out here. Nate, happy birthday, mate.
Well, Nate, if you're watching as a birthday present, put a comment in, and I'll get you a cooler. So all you have to do is give us a comment on the video, and I'll get you a cooler sent out. Happy birthday, brother! Evening, boys. There's a few of you all jumping on now, as it always happens the first couple of minutes as we do wait for everyone to jump on board. But again, get the comments coming in. Best questions, best comments will win a couple of coolers out there. And we do have the double pass for our Magic Round event. So if you are planning on coming to Magic Round this year, you want to be part of our first ever event, make sure you're adding in the comments. This time for a different one, you have to add a code word into the comments. So add the word magic. I'll see them in the comments. I'll star it. And at the end of the show, I'll choose someone at random who put the word magic in the comments. Will win that double pass for the Magic Round event. And look, if you have already won them, and I know we're only giving 2 at a time, but if you're coming as a group and say there's 4 of you, feel free to go ahead, apply to win some more, because we obviously want the more the better, the more the merrier. And we don't want part of your crew to miss out. So if you're coming with a crew, we always know what Magic Round's like. We want you all part of it. Come have a couple of drinks with us, talk some footy. Be really, really keen for that. But what's caught our eye this week, boys? Let's get smack bang into it. Jake, I will start with you.
That's an interesting one because it's not something I'd normally sort of go into, but team lists. What caught my eye is Latrell Mitchell has been put into centers, and I think that is a very interesting thing for me. I wanted to touch on that. I know it's probably going to get talked about, at some point or whatever, but that's huge for the game as a player who he is, and I think that makes the Rabbitohs a threat. So that's interesting to me.
Yeah, that was that's a big one. So Trav, what caught your eye this week?
I'm going off sport. I'm going off the rugby league again this week, but last week I gave everyone a heads up and said, or a couple of weeks ago I gave everyone a heads up and said, hey, get around the NCAA March Madness tournament in the basketball. It's been shown live on ESPN. And if you're a basketball fan, but even if you're not a major basketball fan, I have watched almost every one of those games this year, and some of the best basketball I've seen in years. So I know there's a heap of boys that message me privately and get in my DMs and talk about NBA and talk hoops with me. And I love it. So yeah, they'll get around it, but it's now up to the Final Four. So there's the last 4 teams. It starts, I think it's Saturday. So Saturday is the Final 4 games, and then Monday is the last 2 games. And I'll give you a shout out. That's what caught my eye. I'm loving the basketball at the moment.
Love it. Guys, if you are loving the show, if you love what we do us a favor and do share this episode. Let's try and get it out there. Let's try and get a heap of people on tonight. Let's get this show rolling. It'd be great to see.
Hey, Joel,
for me, what caught? Yes.
Joel, can I give everyone a heads up before you talk? Because you just mentioned about Magic Round. Just want everyone to know, if you're going to Magic Round, get your postal votes in, right? Postal vote.
Yes.
It's a federal election, and the foolish prime minister that we've got set it for Magic Round. He just does not care about sports. Get your postal votes in. Be a smart person and get that postal vote in.
He's lost my vote. What caught my eye this week, and Jake sort of stolen my thunder here. I'm spewing about it, but I'll go at a different angle. I seeing this, and I just love the fact that Wayne Bennett has picked on form, which is so refreshing. Like Jai Gray for mine is, and we said it on Sunday night show, Jake. In our opinion, or in my opinion, he's been one of the form players of the competition, and it's shown in the Dally M votes as well. For our League of Inches one, he's not far behind either. He's in the top 7, I think it is at the moment. So having a great year. I love how I think Wayne Bennett's identified he helps the way the Bunnies play. Yes, granted, Campbell Graham injury has helped him make that decision. It'll be interesting to see what happens when Campbell Graham is fit again. Maybe he has some time on the wing just to get his body right with everything. I'm not too sure, but I just love it. I loved seeing it. It's awesome. And obviously he doesn't need any more credit. He's one of the best coaches of all time, if not the greatest. But Wayne Bennett's done a great thing for the game, I think, in general, just rewarding a young gun with huge form, which I absolutely love. Keep those Magic comments coming in again, guys. For those who have come on late, we're giving away a double pass to our Magic Round event the Saturday morning, or not morning, it's 11 to 2. The Velveteen Rabbit, shout out to them, a great venue. We've got the whole downstairs area booked out for us. So only League of Inches people will be allowed down there. It's an awesome venue, an exclusive bar, whatever you can think of, it's there. So it's going to be really, really cool. But you have to add in the word magic in the comments. I'll start all the magic comments, and you'll go in to win the 2 tickets at the end of the podcast. So stay tuned.
You literally got to walk down the rabbit hole, which could be a bad thing.
Yes, yeah, and it's the start of the day. It's the start of Magic Round, so you can walk down there.
It could be a rabbit hole.
Once you walk down there, who knows how the rest of the day pans out. So hopefully we get to the ground, but you never know. Who knows with all of us together? It could be a very dangerous start to the Saturday of Magic Round. Very keen for that. And I think most of us are traveling together as well, which is also a dangerous thing. So we will see there. But next part of the show, and again, guys, get in the comments, have your opinions. We value those the most, and it does make the show what it is. The NRL admits to mistakes being made on the weekend. Back to cracking down on direct contact to the head. We've seen a number of times on the weekend where it basically was analysed at most, when I was shaking my head, as I'm sure most rugby league fans were, for a lot of these calls, thinking, first of all, how have they stayed on the field? Secondly, the day after, how they haven't been suspended for what actually transpired on the night. So what do we think about this one? Trav, I'll get your thoughts first, because me and Jake touched on it slightly on Sunday, but we'll go a bit more deeper into it now that's been all official. What are your thoughts from the weekend's games and a few of those incidences which any other time of the year I feel like would be guaranteed sin bins? For some reason they'll let go.
Yeah, well, they've been mostly let go all year, right? And this is what we've been arguing about the whole time. And this is what I sort of ended the podcast last week on, is that like all we're screaming out for is consistency. That's all we want. So if they're going to be consistently shit, then be consistently shit. If they're going to, call everything, then call everything, but be consistent. Don't go game to game. I like it. I like what the NRL have done here. However, it's annoying that it's taken them to week 4 to do it. I think that's piss poor by the NRL. There shouldn't have even been a conversation, to be fair. The idea of the high tackles and they'll make it an instant sin bin, I think should have been done and should have been the setting right from Vegas. Right, that's a simple rule. This line in the sand, that is what it is. I like the rule in particularly because I think a ball carrier should never be able to run with the view that they're going to get hit in the head. It's as simple as that. What I don't want is the sin bins, and I want common sense to come into this around that. If it's because the dude was slipping and caught the head, or some of those incidental, really accidental ones, I think need to be set as not a sin bin. But again, that's them creating that nightmare of too much interpretation. But yeah, I like the idea. I just think it's annoying that it's come to this point and it's pissed us all off. And there's a lot of people out there that are pissed off because we've sat here for 5 weeks watching this rubbish, and now we've got to this point. I'll take it one extra bit further. I was watching NRL 360 yesterday. Brent Reid, right? Brent Reid. Yeah, we all know who Brent Reid is. That man is a fool. That man is a fool. Did you hear what he said yesterday? What a fool. To try and use this as an example around that he thinks, I'm going to go there, I don't care, is a fool. He thinks, the fact is that he said that the Marnie hit. So there's already 2 comments in the comments around that. How did Marnie get off and not get a suspension at all? He copped a crappy $1,800 fine. What a joke. And then Brent Reid comes through and says, I don't see anything in that. There's nothing in it. Like, what a moron. I'm sorry. Like, okay, he's a big time, highly paid journalist. I get it. I'm just a spud sitting on League of Inches on a Tuesday live show. But like, come on, man. Well, that's just ridiculous. That's just bonkers. I couldn't believe that.
We will get to Reid Marnie very, very soon. Trust me, guy. I know he's a very dividing player. He divides a lot of opinions out there, and a lot of people have strong feelings about him. So we will get to that and how he has been acting, because we were very boisterous in the finals last year about the fact that he basically cost his own team a spot in the next phase of the final series. So interesting to see that it might have slightly come back into his game all of a sudden, which is a concern, I think, for the Bulldogs moving forward. But you're right on one aspect that you said, Trav, and I want to quickly raise it as well before I throw to Jake. But I don't think the game needed to come out and say there's a crackdown as such, or say that they're looking like this was always the rule. What they should have done, I felt like, was basically say they've stuffed up. The referees made a huge couple of errors on the weekend. The match review made some errors by not suspending some of these players. And we need to actually get it right moving forward, admit to the mistakes and move forward. There's no need to announce sort of the crackdowns or anything like that. I know that 360 sort of covering their tracks tonight on their episode and tried to say, no, he didn't say there's a crackdown, but he basically insinuated that that's what's going to happen moving forward. And that's how the media will treat this now, as a crackdown. Everyone will be watching it closely. It's just the fact of the matter, in the modern day and age of sport, we are cracking down on the head contact. It shouldn't be happening. It's illegal, and we need to protect the players. And for mine, the officiating on the weekend regarding that aspect of things, and me and Jake already spoke about it at length on Sunday, it was atrocious. It was absolutely atrocious, and they need to get dropped. Hopefully that happens, and then we can move on and see it happen again. Jake, your final comments on this one?
I'm actually quite interested to see how it sort of happens, like, and what comes of it. Like, as much as I hate the word crackdown, because that's becoming a thing, and you know, we all know that it lasts for about 2 weeks and then just disappears, as with the play the ball rule and with basically everything. But I'm interested to see how it happens, because the way I sort of interpreted it and the way that everyone seems to have is any high contact. It didn't even say contact with the head. It said any high contact will be sin binned. Right, man, I'm expecting to see a game where there is dead set 5-on-6 at one point. Like, I'm expecting to see a game. I'm joking. That's obviously a little bit too far, but I'm expecting to see a lot of sin bins. And if we don't, and then we do it for another round, like Trav said, the consistency is the key thing we want to see. If everyone is being treated to the exact same standards and held to the same standards, I still think that a head high, if it's not super reckless and stuff like that, should be a penalty, and you go from there. But in this case, if they're going to do this big crackdown and whatever, let's see it. Let's see, like, 3 people from each team go. I want to see it. Let's go. I don't want to see the crackdown, but I think it would be funny to watch a little bit for the 2 weeks that it's going to happen.
Yeah, we will say. The thing is, I don't think it's been that bad so far to start the year in terms of the direct head contact. I just think from the weekend there was a few that were just absolutely ridiculous, and I just don't know how. And a reminder, guys, later on the show we'll be doing our next player. It's our halfbacks this week for our draft team. I know that was everyone loved that last week, so that is coming back once again. We've got to fill our teams, our top 30 squad in the salary cap for 2026. Very keen to get back in that one. I think there might be a bidding war ahead for a guy called Nathan Cleary. We will see there. Make for great riveting content. I will absolutely love it. I'm already salivating. I'm drooling over it. Next up, here we go. Guess what, guys? Daly Cherry Evans. Obviously, it's been a huge week. We've all heard, let's just call it what it is, the bullshit, sorry to swear, but it needs to be said, that has been surrounding this all week. The different sides of the stories, the way people are twisting it, it's very clear there is two separate camps. There is Daly Cherry Evans. There is basically the Manly club as a whole. They're both trying to save face. They're both trying to come out with this, looking the better, I guess, in a weird way. One thing I feel like that's getting missed here is the fact that Daly Cherry Evans is still the captain of the Manly Sea Eagles, and they're in with a chance of winning the comp this year. I don't know when this is going to stop, because I thought it was going to start dying down after the weekend. He runs out. We hear if he gets cheered or booed, and then it's a start to move on to basically just see where he's going to go. But he sort of doubled down in a way, in my opinion, in the press conference, and he just all of a sudden just kept going and going and going and going. And I just sat there just thinking, when are you actually going to turn around and go, guys, I'm focusing now this year as being the club captain to get my team a premiership, and I'll go from there. It just felt like, in my opinion, it went on for way too long, that press conference, and him talking literally just about himself, where they just came off a good win against an Eels outfit. Turbo just got injured. Bit of concerns around that, but majority of that press conference was as if it was the Daly Cherry Evans press conference, which I didn't like personally. And I don't think it's a good look at Manly at the moment either. I think that this has a real chance of completely derailing a season that they had a really good hope in shaking it up. Jake, your thoughts on the rest of whatever's happened now the last week or so with Cherry Evans?
Yeah, it just feels, it's weird because it kind of just feels like Ben Hunt all over again. Like, it just feels like it's just all we're hearing about now. And I get why, because it's such a huge outcome that I think no one really sort of expected to happen, and so sort of suddenly as well. One thing on this, for me, is I think you're right in the sense that he needs to basically just shut up now. He wants to win a comp. He's come out and said, I want to win a comp. Well, I'll say this. His actions on the field did the talking in terms of themselves. He played great on the weekend, right? Against a team that admittedly didn't do much against him and never really was going to, but that doesn't matter. He still came out. He did his job, right? So he's come out. He's played pretty well. But then again, he goes into that press conference and then he just kind of kicks himself, and they're going up against the Storm next week. They got a huge game next week. He can't be distracting them. This can't be a distraction for the rest of the season, because look, while it may not have affected them in the immediacy, they versed the team coming last in the comp. Boo-hoo. Who cares? That's not a massive win. We'll actually see, I think, more that if it's disrupted them next week versus the Storm. I think that's going to be the big test, to be honest. And I think that you're going to see more of those weird games where they aren't cohesive. That's going to happen a little more this season, based off of if it continues where they keep talking about it, especially if he keeps talking about it publicly.
Yeah. Just quickly as well, I was told by a couple of people this that were at the game on the weekend, and our Manly fans, there was a lot of talk about the booing in terms of when he ran out and the fact that it was all cheers. I think that was more so directed at Manly, like as they were running out, they're getting behind their team. They actually told me when Cherry Evans's picture got shown on the big screen that they did the lineups, there was actually a lot stronger boos then. So he actually did cop a bit from the crowd. It wasn't all lovey-dovey, as I feel like has been reported a lot. The truth of that is, before they ran out and things like that, there was a bit of boos. I'm not too sure if anyone else here in the comments went on the weekend and can clarify that as well. But from what I've been told, it wasn't a complete love affair. There is a little bit still happening, and there is some fans, Manly fans especially, that are still quite a bit grumpy with how this is playing out. Trav?
I think that's to be expected. But I also sort of think that the Manly fans are sitting there going, we've got a whole year here. Let's let it go. Joel, are you referring to the press conference? Were you referring to the press conference after the game? Is that the one that you were talking about? See, I've got a very different opinion about that. Like, I'm complete opposite to you. I didn't mind that press conference, and I thought he handled himself really well. He sat in a press conference, and you're talking about how he made it about himself. I actually feel like he tried not to make it about himself at all. He answered the questions that was asked to him that he had to answer. And basically, and everything that he said, I thought was incredibly professional and really supportive of everything but what he was trying to infer as the media tried to probe him for, and he took a step back and tried to get away from it. In terms of when they continued to keep probing him about the smear campaign and how the media, how the media are getting fed the information. And his comment was, well, I know where that's coming from. And the next person came through and said, well, where is that coming from? And he goes, I'll just leave that here. And I'll leave it at that. I don't think he actually turned that into a conference at all about himself. I thought he did a really good job in terms of how he said, he was very open around where he said, I know that my decision to not sign somewhere is going to lead to speculation, is going to open all that. But this is the whole point of why I said it in week 4, 4 weeks into the season, is so that the club has an ample opportunity to replace me. It also gives him the opportunity and ample opportunity to decide what he does and what he doesn't do. And I thought he answered that really well. I liked how he also spoke about how, by the fact that he's done this, now it's up to him to control and do what he can control. I like how he said that, how he can control only how he plays footy and what he does with his family. And I just think, so I don't know, Joel, I don't know how much we want to go into depth with that, but yeah, I've got a very different opposing opinion to that. And I don't think he went to, and I really don't believe that he went to that press conference believing that it was about him and what he was going to do. I think he just answered the conversations and the comments that was made to him and the questions that was asked.
I just feel like he went too far. And I think there was a few times where he deliberately stirred something that he could have completely just disregarded, because we heard him already talk about all of this on Monday, and we've heard it throughout the week. He's spoken to the media. His management spoken to the media. I just think that was a time and place where, answer the first probably 2 at a max 3 questions and spend roughly let's say 3 minutes on that scenario. But the rest should have been, because I kept watching Seabell, and I'm not a professional at reading people, but it looked to me like Seabell was getting to the point where he could talk in his head and be like, I'm over this. Like, this isn't what I want to be talking about right now. I want to talk about the fact that we just got a good win. We have 17 blokes in there that are celebrating. I've just lost my star fullback. Let's talk about Leo Alpawadi's performance and things like that. And it was literally everything. And when's the last time I've seen one of those where literally the captain talks the whole time and the coach speaks for about 15% of that? I just don't think it was the time and place to do it, is my opinion on it.
Yeah, and fair enough. We're all entitled to different opinions. Your opinion's wrong. No. I just thought I'd throw that in there. But he goes to a press conference. I'm all right. Yeah, don't wait. They go to a press conference after the game, and they answer the questions that's put in front of them. Right, that's what they've got to do. We know that this is pretty much going to happen every time DCE fronts up for a media. Someone's going to ask something about it. That's just what's going to happen. And he answered those questions. I think he did a really good job with how he answered it and what he did, and have absolutely no problems with how and what he said. Yeah.
Jake, any final say on that, the press conference, from what you gathered?
No, not really. I think you guys have covered it all. I just think, it needs to be something that Manly wants to drop as quickly as possible. And I do agree with the fact that Trav said, he has to answer the questions that are put in front of him, but I suppose he can just say no comment. Pretty simple. Don't have to talk about it. Just say no comment. Move on.
Yeah, Shannon. Thanks. Shannon's right. His comments on the ABC were more pointed than the press conference. I actually never got around to listening to that. So if anyone is or has the copy of it, can you send it to the page, please, so I can have a listen to that one, because I haven't yet. And I have heard that a few people have raised it and said that interview was very telling, and it was one of those ones where they're sort of listening going, I don't know if you should be saying half the stuff you're saying right now, but hey, it's the way he's chosen to go about this. But just quickly, have you changed on who you reckon he's going to, boys? It's been a week. We've had what we've listened to. I'm firming on the fact that the Manly Eagles will be signing Fogarty to replace him. I'm almost got that in concrete. I feel like that's just the vibe that's happening. I feel like the Dolphins, in a way, I feel like he's going the Dolphins. I know the Roosters seem to be heavy favourites for this, but I still feel like there's part of me that the Queensland connection, I feel like he might just be going, you know what, it's time for me to go back home and go up.
I actually want to see him go to Titans. I know it's probably very unlikely to happen, but I actually really would like to see him go. Yeah, it would be a great story. That's what I mean. Like, he'd just be such a an NRL story. It'd be so interesting, but I don't think it happens.
Yeah, these are the comments he said a few times that I feel like is showing me that it might be the Dolphins, because he keeps talking about money and the fact that people who are claiming it's all about money will be rudely shocked, basically. I feel like it's going to be the Dolphins because, look, and Samantha, you're in at the moment, so I'll ask you directly because I know you are a Manly fan. If there is any other Manly fans in here, please answer. But if he goes to the Roosters, do you think that's a bit more of a slap in the face? Because I feel like if he goes to the Dolphins or the Titans, it kind of, you can understand it in a way. You go, all right, he's going back home, the family. But if it's the Roosters, is it a bit of a slap in the face for you as a Manly fan? I feel like if it was in my shoes, I certainly would be feeling like it was a little bit of a slap. 1,000%. Well, there you go. 100 million trillion % is the answer there. So I agree totally. Just a quick one. It's not in our run sheet, but Shem's brought to us. Obviously, this has been floating around. Not sure if you want to touch on it. We will, mate. Don't worry. We always want you guys to lead where this goes, this show. We leave it in your hands. Lots of rumors around Chance, Nickel Clockstad, and Tamari Martin off to the Super League. Then the Warriors signing a big fullback. Have seen Ponga thrown around a lot. Interesting to hear thoughts. One thing I'll say is I haven't believed anything I've heard today because of the stupid April Fool's thing that everyone does. I just think I'm over it. I don't know if anyone else is, but I absolutely hate today. It's just stupid, especially when you're trying to run a page and you're just like, all right, this is a story. Hang on, no, it's just stupid. And half of them haven't even been funny. Like, come on, like pages are trying to get in and they're just doing ones that are stupid. But anyway, I haven't heard Tamari Martin one yet, so I'm interested to find a bit more. I have heard Chance. Apparently, a Super League club's offered him at least, I think it's 2 years, maybe 3. I heard Catalans today was that club perhaps, but that might be off the money. The big fullback, who knows? Because again, isn't the Roosters hot favourites to sign Ponga when he's available? Trav, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I haven't done any research on this. I did get a post sent to me. I've just seen Jake hashtag for Shannon, and then I've just noticed that Joel's hashtag Trav the Trend Center. Yeah, like it is what it is, I'm used to it. But so I don't have many comments on it, to be fair. I don't know. I haven't heard anything really. I've been at work and then haven't done any research on it. So sorry, my initial thoughts are not much yet. I need to sort of just wait and see how it goes through and wait till tomorrow when I might believe something.
Yeah. Jake, do you have anything happening?
Oh, I don't. I have an opinion. I think that if they're going to sign Ponga, I think that's silly because they've got a young gun fullback upcoming into Tuapiki. They've also got, like, don't get me wrong, Chance is no slouch, but if he goes, that's fair enough. But like, I'd be looking to sign, move Tuapiki to the back like they're supposed to be doing and what they're developing him for, and then. To be honest, I think that they should then try to sign maybe a better center wing or something along those lines. More so, if that's what happens, kind of thing. I don't think, all that's going to do is sort of go, we're at Tuapiki, we don't value you, and another club's just going to snatch him up.
Can I throw one out there that might? I know people are thinking like Ponga, that's a superstar. Can I throw one out there that would, I feel like, make a little bit of sense? Joey Manu, if he in fact is getting over rugby, I feel like it might be maybe they've swooped in under the Roosters' radar. Apparently, the handshake deal that they always have with all their players that depart, and have talked Manu into maybe going home and going to New Zealand, I'd like that signing. That's a signing I could definitely get around, and that would be amazing for the Warriors.
I've always wanted to see him play fullback. Sorry, Trav.
Yeah.
You go.
I was actually going to say the same thing. I like one of the, obviously, other than Latrell, I think he's probably the best center in the comp. But I also think he's a superstar fullback if given a full-time ride as a fullback. So I would love to see that. And then just the story of going back to New Zealand and doing what he does there with them, I think would be great. I initially thought when I first read this, that's kind of who they might have thought they were getting. I don't see Ponga going to New Zealand. I just don't see it. So I don't have that belief. Whether he goes that's not because I feel like he's a shoe-in to go to the Roosters. I just don't think I don't think he's got any interest in going to New Zealand, to be fair. I thought Manu myself, that'd be great.
One more point regarding Manly. It's not DCE, guys. Don't worry. It's about Turbo. A point I wanted to make, because again, me and Jay touched on this on the Sunday review show. If you haven't listened to it yet, make sure you do check out the podcast or on YouTube, the video. It gets posted every Sunday night, late Sunday night, or check it out Monday morning on your way to work. Their handling of the injuries. So he obviously had the hamstring niggles, that it was an injury. I know there's people out there saying he didn't have an injury. He did. He was literally not named the week before that with a hamstring injury. And then obviously the day before, apparently had a knock to his knee. He came out. I've never seen him with a heavily knee strap before. And I was like, straight away, as soon as I seen that, having to see on him on a super coach point of view as well, I went, no, not today, not today. It reminded me of a conversation I had with Jesse the week before, but I'll say that for the Supercoach show tomorrow night, because he's copying it, guys. I'll pre-warn you now. I'm ready to rip his hair onto old Jesse. But he just, as soon as he went out, he did not look himself whatsoever. And I just feel like Manly's at a stage now, and we mentioned it on Sunday, they need to realize they've got players there that can handle it. They were versing Parramatta, for Christ's sake, last place, who have shown absolutely nothing. In my opinion, they were more than prepared with Leo Hopewadi going to fullback, Fa'alalo on the wing, or however they want to go about it. They've got plenty of depth there now. If my Ferrari, which is Turbo, is not 100%, and it was raining, the turf was crap, I am not risking him whatsoever. Now they're out. He's out for at least a month of football. I just feel like this was handled quite poorly by him, if I'm going to be honest. And I don't know if I'm missing the mark completely, but I just felt like they could have handled that a lot better than they did, Trav.
Yeah, no, I think you are missing the mark, to be fair.
We're on tonight.
Yeah, and I wish I could get way more involved in this, but that's for off air when I can actually tell you how I feel. I think you are off the mark. Like, it's a different injury, right? So he missed the games because of a hammy. He's now out with an MCL. They're different injuries, completely different injuries. Where it is, and everyone knows, and even Seabolt said, and listening to the after game press conference, but around what Seabolt was saying about how diligent he is with his preparation. There he is.
Oh, I've got to stop you for a second. He's there. Yeah. Mate, message the page. Happy birthday. We'll get you a cooler sent out. Happy birthday, mate. You listened and you got it done. So finally, I don't even know if you realize what we're talking about, but there you go. You won your prize.
Happy birthday, Nate. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So he's a very hardworking, does his due diligence, is very good on his prep. I just, for me, and the comment around the strapping on the knee was like, they both laughed at it when they in that conference around that. And then there was another few comments around that it was just a pure blown, silly, funny, comical knock that happened with his brother Ben. And then Ben copped it for 24 hours saying, you've just taken our fullback out, blah, 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 blah. And it wasn't even that big a deal. Like, I think that I just don't see much in this. I just think it's just pure blown unlucky for a dude who's, obviously injury prone. I think they did their due diligence, to be honest, Joel, by sitting him out last week. Apparently he was perfectly fine last week, right? Just not quite up to it, not quite 100%. So they sat him out. And could have easily gone out last week, but they sat back and said no. So yeah, I have absolutely no problems with what they did with their Ferrari this week.
Leon, you're killing this Magic Round competition. I'm just going to call it now.
He's desperate.
You can message the page, and we will see you at Magic Round. You have won the double pass.
He's not even bloody going. I don't know why he's doing it.
Nah, I love it. Don't say that. He's there.
No,
And well done to him. So if he's not going, if he knows anyone that is going, you can pass it off and let us know their details, and we'll make sure they win the prize. But absolutely love it. Thanks, Leon. Trav, I've got to disagree because we know what Turbo's like, and Jake, I'll let you comment first, but he simply wasn't right. As soon as he ran out there, you could tell he wasn't what we've seen so far to start the year. So he was carrying something still. And I just think they're at a stage now where you've got to manage these. And I said it to Jake on Sunday. I would rather Turbo play 15 or 16 fully fit games than push him to say played 20 or 21 each year. And he's playing some of them busted, which highly increases, because his body's unfortunately fallen apart, his chances of an injury. I would rather 16 quality games than 2021. Yeah, we'll see what happens. And then we've now seen what's happened, and it's not an ideal scenario, I feel like.
I guess I'll jump in. The way I see it is...
I'll come next.
The way I see it is it's the team that he was versing that's kind of what's thrown me, is like you're versing the at the moment kind of the chumps, to be honest. He was versing the team coming last. Like, there was no expectation that they were even going to come close to losing that match. So why are you playing him, whether it's a little niggle or whether it's anything, to be honest with you, with the history he's had, right? I say they absolutely should have rested him. I think that they should have just, hey, we've got the Storm next week. We've got a massive game next week. Let's just not take the risk. Let's just put you out there in the game we really need you in, as opposed to playing you. And it's never a bad idea to get Lehi Hopoate some experience at the back anyway, like making sure that he's sort of playing a bit of fullback. It would have been the perfect opportunity to do that for him. So to be honest with you, I have to agree with Joel. I think they had no reason to put him out there. It just wasn't necessary.
Thanks, Jake. Happy to move on, Trav, or you need to write a reply?
Oh, I don't really care. I've got a reply, but if you want to keep moving, we can.
Go on.
No, so so he's done a completely different injury. Like, it's a knee. So, hindsight's a wonderful thing, people. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. If we had hindsight, I'd be a freaking millionaire. Like, and would never do a single thing wrong ever, right? We all would be the same. Like, it's a very completely different injury. And whether he looked out of place or not, or however he looked on the game, to be fair, I was at my daughter's birthday party, so I missed the game. So I didn't get to see that. But at the end of the day, they held him out last week for his hamstring injury, and said that he was okay. He's turned up to this game now, 2 weeks down the track, as perfectly fine. And as to what it is and how that, I'm going to take the
We'll do it for charity.
And I'll belt him. Joel's slow, man. You should see. But it's a completely different injury, right? I can't harp on that. I can't harp on that any further than what it is. Like, it's a different injury. He's done his MCL. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. He's turned up to the game. It is what it is. And I have to just take what the medical staff and everyone did as professionals. And I'm also going to assume that they also know that Turbo's their Ferrari. They know they win a hell of a lot more than they lose with and without him. Like, if he's not ready to play, they're not going to play him. So that's where I'm at.
Fair enough.
We'll let him have the last word. We'll let it's almost 50-50. Even in the comments, I feel like it's been completely split here. So,
and you've even got the Manly fan with me. So yeah,
we'll just agree to disagree. I think we'll move on from there. That's all about the doggies, eh? Top of the comp, the only team remaining undefeated. And I think we asked this question 2 weeks ago. None of us said the Bulldogs. So well done to them. They've got it done after a couple of upsets on the weekend, and the Storm got done by the Dragons. But do we think the Bulldogs are legit contenders for this year's competition? Jake, I'll throw to you first.
Why not? You know what? Hope is a wonderful thing. Well, look, it is. Hope is a wonderful thing, and that idea that they're rolling and that they're flying at the moment. they can kind of be the wind at their back at times. And I think there's no reason why they don't have. It's not as if they have a lack of quality. I don't think in players, and we've seen what they can do to any team. Because the difference between them and a lot of other teams is what they try to do is really, well, actually, what a similarity that they have to Penrith actually of the 4-year premierships. Is that ability to drag a team to their level, to drag it to how they want to play their football, and they're really good at that. So if they can do that to the sort of top teams like they did to the Sharks, I actually have no reason why they can't be a premiership threat, to be honest. They're doing this, by the way, they did this against what we consider to be a top 4 team pretty handily in the Sharks without two of their main men, without Burton and without Kikau. Kikau being a second rower obviously maybe isn't as huge, but Burton, he's their main guy. He's their big ticket item, over there, and they're playing without him, and they didn't look uncomfortable at all, to be honest.
Trav.
So if you're to label the Bulldogs in one word around their game style, what would you say? One word.
Scrappy.
Yeah.
You asked me to. I did.
No, bro, that goes to both. I'm waiting for Joel. It wasn't just to you, Jake.
Well, I was about to say dogfight, but I realized that was 2 words, so I held back from saying it. I'll agree with Brent. I'll say gritty. I feel like they're constantly in the fight. That's right. And why? Because they pride themselves on defense. Right? So when we talk about defense, what do teams need to have and have had for a long time in most premiership years? What have they prided themselves on, and what wins premierships? Yeah. There's comments still coming in about this Turbo. Maybe we should have spent more time on it and got into it, because there's still people wanting to talk about it. So that's fantastic. But I don't want to burst the dog bubble at the moment.
The one thing about the Bulldogs is, because you're going to keep going to that, and then I want to go back up to David Johnson and say, at no point when he goes, Trav, your opinion matters, but you aren't always right. No, I don't say that I am. So to me, that's a silly comment. I don't ever say that I am always right, and nor do I agree with it. So anyway,
you do it off all the time. You say I'm always right. You always wrong, and I'm sick of you disagreeing with me. No, I'm joking.
So yeah, but anyways, what wins premierships? Defense, right? So what happened on the weekend? Bulldogs playing defense. That's what they pride themselves. That's what it is. That's where they're at. That's their bread and butter. That's their blood. That's what they can do. 100% they can. I think I put them second or third on the ladder in my prediction this year. I just was really high on them. The second I saw Burton kick out, I thought, oh no. I think they're going to end up being bottom 4 of the 8, or might even miss out on the 8 with 6 games or so potentially. That's a lot of games that they're going to miss it and probably lose. And then I've now watched them go and win that game against the Sharks. So I'm just, all that's given me is way more hope as to where I think they're going to be and how good they're going to be this year.
Yeah, I don't want to be the party pooper here, but I don't think they're contenders for the premiership this year. I still think there's an issue with their fullback and halfback in terms of that big occasions. I don't think they're quite there against Penrith when they get back to full strength. The Storm are a different beast come finals. I'd even throw Manly once Turbo's back there. I think Manly would get the job done against the Bulldogs as well. So a couple of 10 and the Broncos, in my opinion. So I feel like there's still 4 teams at least ahead of them. But one thing I do want to say, and I don't want to full credit here to the Bulldogs, full credit. I think they played a very, very good game of football. But in my opinion, the Sharkies were really poor, which the Dogs made them play like. I get that. The Sharks were poor, though. Like, their halves didn't stand up, and it's been the criticism we've had of them for a long, long time in these games. The Sharkies halves just go missing, and it felt like they did that once again. And they had the bigger pack, the Sharks. They had a dominant pack that just basically had nothing against a pack that are just workhorses. They're not massive, nothing like that. Just absolutely very nice and kind. Their love's back in here, so that's good to see. But, yeah, I just feel like there's a number of teams ahead of them still, but they'll be in there. They'll
beat up your son for him.
Oh, right. Here we go. Oh, here we go.
Thrown you off.
The Gritty Dogs are currently 3rd, points 4. So yeah, they can attack. Definitely. That also helps when you verse the Eels, but they didn't score that many points against the Eels.
No, they only scored 16.
I was surprised about. Howdy, Diggsy. Get in the comments, get involved. Good to see some YouTubers. And all those YouTubers, very quiet the last couple of weeks via YouTube. So get involved via YouTube. Get us some comments in there. It'd be great to see.
Can I take a step back? I'm sorry, but I'd like to take a step back. The one comment that I've got that really irks me is this: we don't appreciate wins enough. We chase the other team was no good, the other team was poor, instead of going back and saying, well, what was the reason why they played poor? Sometimes they play poor because they're crap, right? So the best example, and I'm sorry, but the best example of that is Para recently, so far this year, right? That they're poor because they're playing crap. It's as simple as that, right? It's not because the other teams have owned them, or it's not because the other, they're playing poor because they're just crap. All right. So, we look at the weekend. I look at that Sharks list, and I actually watching that game. I reckon the Sharks they tried their asses off. They just had no answers. They couldn't. The Bulldogs game and what they did was unreal. The way that they just literally defensively stopped them across the park, and then their attack based off the back of Hayward, I thought and Sexton was just unreal. And I think we have to appreciate more about the fact that what the Bulldogs did and forced the Sharks to do than the fact that it's an easy comment to go, the Sharks just didn't play well. Like, the reason why they didn't play well in this one is because the Bulldogs didn't let them. That's why the Bulldogs are going to be so good, and why we shouldn't be stating or understating how good that was and what they can do this year. They're a fearful team, and we should be, like, as a Storm fan, who I still, even after the weekend, think we are favourites to win. I'm very concerned to match up against the Bulldogs in a finals game. Like, that's a concerned game because of the way their defense is just unreal. And if they can do that with their 2 superstars out, holy moly! Like, and we're all talking around like they don't have experience. Well, they do. They got flogged. Well, no, they didn't get flogged, but they lost where they shouldn't have. In a game that they shouldn't have lost last year. That's definitely experience they're going to write off.
I didn't want to take anything away from the Bulldogs' performance at all. And I think 100% what you said, everything was spot on. I was more so just coming across from a point of view where it's another big game, another close game where, in my opinion, the Sharks halves basically went missing. And it feels like we've been saying that a hell of a lot when it comes to the Sharks. And granted the Bulldogs pack and the way they played, and there was a few comments about it, they literally strangled the Sharks. And I get that. I 100% get it. But the Sharks need to learn to win those games, and they haven't yet. They haven't done it for years. And that's the big concern about talking about the Sharks in terms of being a contender. They can't be a contender while they can't win like that, because all the good teams can. And we saw, like, for example, the Bulldogs last week, they played shockingly and they still managed to get the 2 points. Yes, granted, against last place, but that was there for the taking. That was there for the win, and they managed to get the job done, playing very poorly, probably their poorest game so far of the year by some ways. So well done there to the Bulldogs being able to do that. Reed Marnie, I know he will get plenty of comments. I know plenty of people out there do not like him. On the field, apparently he's a completely different bloke to what he is off it. And I've actually met him off the field once or twice. We're in his para days, granted, but he was an absolute top bloke. So I can stress that. He's very nice bloke. But white line fever certainly gets to him. Few things he did on the weekend was just over the top, uncalled for, not necessary. And it just goes back into a point where, and I remember me and Trav, I think it was, had this conversation last year in the final series where he literally cost the Bulldogs big time. He cost them their spot in the competition. And we said that the Dogs needed to stress that to him. And he started the year quite well, in my opinion. Like, he felt like he held it in a little bit. The last probably 2 weeks, not as much. I was surprised, not as much against the Eels, which I thought he would have been a terror in, to be honest, because of the history. But on the weekend, seemed to go back to the old Marnie, which I know they got the job done, and I know there's been like people like Talis has gone at least got the Sharks players off their game in a way, so it worked. They got the win, but there's only so long, in my opinion, that he can behave like that where it will happen, because whether he likes it or not, or the game likes it or not, the referees will cotton onto this and they'll start to pin him, and it'll become a liability because he'll get 10 minutes in the bin, he'll get repeated sin bins, or he'll end up just getting sent off because he just doesn't stop. So he's just got to be careful there because he's towing a very dangerous line, in my opinion, Jake.
Yeah, well, as a 9, his service is excellent. His defense is excellent. Like, he is what you would consider to be an elite 9 in the competition. But there is that one deciding factor that mucks that up, and that is that level of, hey, I'm going to give away a penalty here, and the other team's going to get easy outs for nothing, like for no reason. Quick shout out to the Levels podcast. I was watching a little bit on that, and they were talking about how basically he's almost playing himself out of a consideration for a 9 for the Maroons, because like if you take away that one part of it, right, the rest of everything that he does is just top notch. Like, there isn't much you can fault him. And that game on the weekend, he was crushing it. He was having such a great game until sort of the one incident there, and it was unnecessary. Like, he was legal. It was legal to tackle him, right? It was legal to tackle. I can't remember who was on who he hit. Oh, it was Atkinson. It was perfectly legal to hit him because the tackle wasn't made. Hit him in the ribs. Hit him wherever. Don't hit him. Don't hit him in the head. Just so unnecessary.
I hate that rule. If a dude faults, if a dude he goes to ground, right? So Daniel Atkinson was on the ground. He's given up. He's given up, right? He's just waiting for someone to come and touch him. Don't go and belt him. I hate that rule. I really do. Everyone takes the opportunity to go and belt someone. The problem is that Reed Marnie, the fool, goes and tries it and turns his head and takes his right shoulder into him. Like, what are you doing, you moron? Like, that was just stupidity. That's just stupidity at its finest. This is a 26-year-old dude. He's not young anymore. It's not like he's a rookie making rookie mistakes. This is an idiot doing stupid things that's going to cost his team dearly soon. And unfortunately, it cost him last year, and you would have thought that he's learnt from that. What I actually would like to take a step back and go, I wonder what Ciraldo, because I called for this, and you did too, Joel, when we did the review after that game, is that, I really hope, and I didn't go as hard on Marnie because I kind of thought, all right, there's a young fella playing finals. The moment got to him, and he tried to enforce himself in the wrong situation and do the wrong thing. And I'd like to hope that Ciraldo and the Bulldogs and Gus and all sorts got into him and said, well, not got into him, but actually sat him down and went, listen, you are an important part to us. And as Jake said, you are an elite hooker, right? And analyze that and teach him to do something. And I watched that on the weekend and went, I don't think that happened. I'm actually disappointed in a lot of things with that. And I think Reed Marnie's been somewhat let down, but he's a grub. As what some of the comments are happening, and that needs to stop. It's got to stop because that was a disgrace.
Yeah, for sure. And we normally tackle these, and we will at the end of the episode. But just a question that was put into the comments that we always do each week. Again, it's Jessica. Absolutely loves the show. Huge fan. Got to meet Jessica on the weekend, which was nice. She came up, got a photo, things like that, wanted autographs. So first time I've actually done that, but it was nice, and she just couldn't rave about us enough. So thanks for the support. But she mentions the Marnie one, so I'll read it out. It is a long one. Like, we're all used to this by now with Jess. She goes really into depth, which we love. Marnie was placed on report twice. First for a high tackle on Toby Rudolph, then for a forceful shoulder drive into a grounded Daniel Atkinson. Despite these incidents, he was not sin bin and later received fines instead of a suspension. Marnie declared his action as part of playing bulldog footy, emphasizing toughness in the game. First of all, bulldog footy, I don't know if it's going out doing illegal tactics. If it is, boy, you got to go question what your tactics are, because you're going to start getting yourself pinned a lot for that. This raises key questions. Should repeated reports automatically result in a sin bin? Is the NRL doing enough to protect players from dangerous play, or are they being too lenient? Should tough play be celebrated, or does it need clearer boundaries to prevent injury? How do we balance physicality with player safety in the evolving landscape of rugby league? Let's discuss whether the league's handling of such incidences incident is fair and what it means for the future of the game. Oh, I need
I'd
a
love to
drink
clarify
after that
something
one.
about that.
Go,
I'd love to
Jake.
clarify something about that. So he's come out and said, "Oh, I value toughness." Dog treating someone in the head when they're on the floor, not tough. Very
No.
cowardly.
Yep.
Very cowardly act. I'm not calling him in general a coward, but that act specifically, that's cowardly, not tough at all. Anyway, I'll let you get back to it, but I just wanted to point that out there.
I think plenty of this right now. There is plenty of questions. There's plenty of answers to one thing I want to talk about quickly. There, the repeated acts. I think there's a valid point there. If there's a repeated acts of foul play by one player, I think there should be one of those things where it's 2 or something, and off you go. Like, it shouldn't be able to go around and do different types of foul play and just go, I haven't done that one yet this game, so I'll go to that because I know I'm safe there. I think that could go into the line. The only thing there that will have to be probably kept account, I guess, by like the bunker or something like that. The referee wouldn't be able to do that in his head because he's got 34 players out in that field at one time to look at and cover. So how they look at that might be the hard part. Again, my thing, the big point there that points out to me is the whole bulldog footy thing. And if that is, as you said, getting someone on the ground, making shoulder contact direct to the head, if that's bulldog footy, then I think you need to, as a club, start to work out what that actually means, because I love toughness and I love the way the Bulldogs are playing at the moment. Absolutely love it. Get around it. I respect what that club's doing immensely. But you don't start bringing that grub tactic in deliberately and doing foul play to... I don't want to call him out there. I don't want to try and claim he did this, but it looks like he was trying to injure a player on purpose. Yeah. And I don't like that in the game. I don't want to see that. Because that was a direct to someone's head. That's not on.
Yeah. So this notion of bulldog footy is garbage. There's a way to do bulldog footy, and they did that for the whole game, other than that incident. I thought the way that they played, they were tough. They were hard. They were gritty. They played defense. They held that team, which is a top 4 potential team, to literally being able to do not much, right? So there was heaps with that. That was tough. What he did was cowardly and garbage. That's the difference, right? So to try and justify what he did by saying it's bulldog footy is just pathetic in my view. Now, to take this even further, the question is repeated reports or repeated incidents. I think you can go even further with that, and not just repeated reports, but repeated incidents should result in a sin bin. 100% it should. 100% it should. And I disagree with that not being the case. I disagree the fact that he shouldn't have, that he only got fined. I can't believe the review committee deemed any of that to be nothing but a fine. It just is beyond me. And my question around this is, so Tupanua got a week suspension for the hit that he did on Trindle. What do you think about that one? And there's a purpose to this, so there's a method to this madness. But do you think that was a suspension?
Yeah, he was dumb. Wonder what he was doing last play of the game. That was absolutely.
I don't think it matters whether it was the last play of the game or not. Like, do you think that was a suspension?
Yeah, I just mean more so I don't know what he was thinking personally. Like, stupid. Now he's rubbed out of the game for 1 week when they've already got a shortage of edge forward. So I just think, 100% that was a suspension in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't agree. I thought it was a good shot. I actually thought that was a good hit. Trindle still had the ball. I think it was so I think that was tough. The point is, I'm saying that was a tough play. That was being tough. That's not being a grub play. Like what he did was he was a dude on the floor. He hit a dude on the ground and purposely went for his head. He's had the whole body. He could have gone and done his legs. Listen, he didn't even have to dive at him. He was new. Atkinson wasn't going anywhere. He literally just had to walk up to him and touch him on his back. Play was over, right? So
yeah, Trindle did pass the ball. He didn't have the ball in his hands when he got hit. So, and that's the big play that they're trying to get rid of, because they're saying that's when a halfback, and Joey was part of the whole thing a few years ago about this, and I think Thurston as well. That's when they're at their most vulnerable, is just after they're throwing the ball, and then they're getting hit by a forward who's literally just lining him up to hurt him. That's what they're trying to eradicate. I think that's why he got his suspension.
So I guess then the next question is the NRL doing enough to protect players? Well, we'll see what happens this weekend, right? They've just gone out and sent this memo and said any high hits, any of that sort of stuff will be dealt a sin bin. So let's just see. Let's see if they really are trying to protect the players and what they're going to do. You know, and then Jess got in the comments just before and made another comment about, you know, can someone clarify when the ref said the next one will be off? Was that in relation to the contact or the melee? I think that was in relation to the melee. And the fact that they've come in. But here's the thing, right? Yeah, it did. It happened the play after. But here's the thing. The melee, why does the melee happen? Because he goes in and hits him and does that as a cheap shot. If he doesn't do that, there's no melee. So I just think what the ref did there was just stupid. Like it's just a really poor handling of that situation.
I think it's fair to say the referee had zero control of that game for the majority of it. He absolutely was a fish out of water, and to be brutally honest, probably shouldn't have had that game, because I don't think he handled it well at all.
To answer Jessica in the comments, illegal or direct contact to the rest of the body is okay. Illegal, no. Direct contact, yes, definitely. It's still a contact sport. Could be able to hit people, but illegal, no.
Provided they had the ball. Is that the ball or something and it's a late
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Not illegal, like as long as it's part of it. But that being said, I don't want the game to go soft. A lot of people say that it's like, it's heading towards being basically touch footy and stuff like that. And none of us want that. And we all know that's not where we're trying to get it to go. We just want some, first of all, consistency, and second of all, some common sense around what should and shouldn't be.
Don't click that link, guys. It's a bloody trap. It's one of those robot things. Don't click it, please.
We just want some common sense, honestly. That's all we want. A bit of common sense about what should and shouldn't go that just isn't happening.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree for sure. Just to split things up quickly, just to answer a couple of the questions we did have come in, just because it's his birthday, we'll put it in the show now. A Para top 8 side with Moses back. So he's not back yet. He's still a couple of weeks away. But Jake, do you think Para top 8 side with Mitch in the side?
No, I don't. I definitely don't. Don't get me wrong. I think with him in the side, we're not the spoon side. I think that helps us to get off the spoon, maybe. But we're not going to make the 8 this year. This year is a full-on rebuild year. Doesn't feel like we're rebuilding much, but it's a year. It's happening. We're not making the 8.
Trav, are the Eels the top 8 side with Moses?
Bo, if it's that easy to get your credit card details, can you hit me up in the DM? I need a couple of slabs for the weekend. But no, they're not. I didn't think they were a top 8 side at the start of the year. They're certainly not one now, and they definitely won't be when Moses comes back. And to be fair, if he's not coming back till round 10, you're more than likely probably only going to be one win, maybe no wins by round 10. Like, why even bother bringing him back? Just put him in the season. Just call it.
Trav loves you.
I'm actually being serious. I'm being serious. Why bother? Like, what are you getting out of it? You're only putting him on. All you're doing is putting him in another potential to get another injury for no purpose.
Hang on, you just said 30 minutes ago about Turbo. That what are you talking?
Yeah,
about?
That's true.
But it's different.
It's very true.
That's different.
No, it's not.
It is. It's 100%.
Not different.
It is. You're going to be 9 and 10 by the time he comes back, right? So what are you playing for? You're not playing for anything. Turbo's still playing for finals and a premiership.
Avoid the spoon.
Eels are playing to avoid a spoon. You've got it anyways. You're going to be 0-10 by then. Lock it in. Like
Dolphins.
The Dolphins won't be this bad the whole year.
You're saying 0-10 a lot, but he's supposed to be back round 7. So
it'd be around.
How are we going to be 0-10? Oh, round 8, round 7.
There was lots of comments around that he wouldn't be back till around 10. So if that's changed in the last week or two or whatever, yeah.
I saw one of the April Fool's things today saying he's going to be out for the season. So that was a classic.
Yeah, don't believe anything. So
no, I didn't even click on
go
it.
to bed, Trav. You've had a head knock. Yeah, I agree, Dave. I agree, Dad. So get
but don't you know, Dave?
Just because for the first time we've disagreed on a few things, and it's makes.
Don't you know, Dave? That's the worst thing to do when you've had a head knock. You got to stay awake.
You got to sleep. Got to stay awake.
Yeah, you got to sleep. You can cast.
Look, to answer the question, Para not a top 8 side, whether Moses is in the team or not. But Diggs, you're 100% spot on. Trav has got rocks in his head tonight. I don't know what he's doing, but he's making.
And then he says joking. Says joking. He's calling that out. So you missed half the sentence.
I don't care what he said.
Yeah, there you go.
That. I just agree with the fact that you've got rocks in your head. So that's all I cared about. I wanted to read that bit, and
you just want to bring Moses back to one of our spoon means you've not got you right. Then it's just not your motive is wrong.
Mate, no, it's all right. Just Turbo needs to play when it's pissing down rain again at Brookie Oval when
Turbo's playing for a premiership.
You're right.
Turbo's playing for a premiership
anyway, whether they've got Turbo or not. You are off your head tonight. You definitely have. There's some rocks up there. There is some rocks up there for sure. All righty, let's get into our favorite part of the night. And we started it last week. It's time to go again, boys. Boys and girls watching as well. Everyone's laughing like they can't believe what's happened tonight. But Trav, bring this every week. Yeah, it's fantastic viewing. I think I'm loving it. I am loving this show. Our draft team. So our League of Inches draft team. So anyone new tonight who didn't catch last week's or didn't see the post that we put out just before to remind everyone, we're doing literally a top 30 squad. We're building our own team as if we were entering the comp next year. So all the relevant players, things like that. Putting them in dollar figures, what we think to marry up with the team, our team as well, to fit under the salary cap. We are not the Sydney Roosters. We have to obey the salary cap. Just remember that. First week was the fullback. So quickly,
it's the Bulldogs now.
Jake had Edwards and he got him for $850. Trav had Ponga for 1.3 mil and I had Turbo for 1.3 mil. So me and Trav are battling about $450K less in the salary cap than Jake already. And we're about to head into the halfback position. But first, I gave the boys a bit of homework. So let's see what they have ended up deciding their team to be called and their mascot. Let's hear this one. And if you guys have a good answer for this in the comments, let us know, because I'm not fully 100% set on my one yet. So if there is a cool one that comes in the comments, I'll be likely to take it. Jake, I feel like you've got one.
I've got one. I was going to try to be creative and try and find a random town. But you know what? I figured a few of the boys, a few of the students from school and stuff watch this, and I figured I'd try to rep it and where I live at. So you know what? We're going to be the Condobolin Rams. Rams for two reasons. One, because that's the actual town. That's the town mascot, but also that's the team I played for. So Rams just seem to be a mascot in my life that I can't get away from. So I figured that just has to stick. And so we're going to be the Condobolin Rams.
Were they a good team? Obviously not with you in it.
Oh, mate, we were awesome. I don't know what you're talking about.
What were you a hooker, weren't you?
Yeah, I played hooker. I played everywhere, man. You can't name a position that at some point I didn't play, including prop.
You were the Condobolin hookers. The Condobolin hooker. So that's a good thing to have on your resume. Got a lot of support of the Rams. Look out, you might be the underdog here. Trav, what have you locked in?
I've got the Christchurch Cap Dodgers.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Go again? I didn't catch it.
I'm the Christchurch Cap Dodgers.
Yeah, nice. Nice. I like it.
It has to be difficult. Everything has to be difficult with him.
Why? Why?
I want to know what your mascot would be. What would your mascot be, Trav?
A mascot.
Oh, don't you? I've got AI making me one as we speak, but I've had that name locked in since the day that we since last Tuesday, and I've just thought I've found AI generated images on the weekend, so I sat there this afternoon trying to do one. I've got it. I'm going to put it in there, and I'm going to make Joel put it onto the little post that he's put on social media. But yeah, I'm the Christchurch Cap Dodgers.
I like it. All right. Again, guys, I was hoping.
I don't know how that's been difficult, but I thought that was quite fucking witty and a good play on words. But you know.
Oh, Robert, I think this is a stitch up. I don't think I want to go there. Joel, the Mungindi grasshoppers, is it, or Gindi?
Maybe Mungindi.
Grasshoppers. Look them up. Jake, can you look it up? The Pie Shop One Cutters. I need some help, boys. I need some help. I completely forgot to even. I set the homework.
Oh, you got homework.
Yeah, I didn't do it. I'm gonna lock in. So, I'd really appreciate some help here live on air, guys. I'm going to lock in
How ridiculous! How ridiculous! The host gave Jake and I a week's notice to get things done, and then he comes on his own show and doesn't even have his own thing.
You should be the Mungindi Grasshoppers, mate. I looked him up there, right?
Is it not a stitch up?
No, that's not a stitch up.
All right,
you should be the Ulladulla Mungindi Grasshoppers.
Ulladulla.
Ulladulla. You should be the Ulladulla Unicorns.
The Ulladulla Hippies. I'll lock myself in for the Ulladulla Hippies. Shout out to Jesse. He lives down that way. I used to live down there as well. So I'll give a shout out to back where I used to live, the Ulladulla Hippies. Shout out to you hippies out there. Not trying to disrespect you. I love yous. So, actually, yeah, you're all right. The Ulladulla Jelly Wrestlers. I'm in. I'm locked in. Lock me in for the Ulladulla Jelly.
I rate that.
I can get a good
Jelly Wrestlers.
I feel like that. Yeah, Diggs. I was going to give myself a week, but I've been put under pressure. But the comments have come in late and have really helped me out. So I really appreciate that for everyone. There we go. The Ulladulla Jelly Wrestlers. Love it. No, the Jamboree. There we go. The Jamboree Jelly. Now let's lock it in. Lock it in. That just sounds better, the J&J. But here we go. Let's go our halfback position, boys. We let Jake go first last week. So, Trav, your turn this week to go first. Who is your halfback and what are you signing for? Remember, guys, we need you in the comments to help because if you don't think it's market value, what he's signed for, and it doesn't go into a bidding war, he has to go up to market value for whoever it is. And remember, if we want him, the same player, it goes into a bidding war and we basically go to whatever we're prepared to pay for that player. Trav, your halfback.
I kind of want to just name one guy so that we actually have a bidding war, but I don't want him. So what I want is I'm going to go off this, and I'm going to go. I want Isaiah Katoa, and I want to pay him $700K.
Oh, that was going down my line of thinking, actually. Oh,
Joel Kano's with energy leaving defenders involved.
Jake, are you interested in Isaiah Katoa for? You have to go over $700K. So
no, I'll pass.
Do we also think that's market value, guys? In the comments, are you happy to give Trav?
I'm pretty willing. I like $700K. I'm pretty happy with that.
Oh, personally. I love what Trav's doing here because he's balancing his salary cap. I just don't think halfback's the position to do it for. I love Isaiah Katoa, but for next year starting a new team, I don't want to put that pressure on him. I'm very tempted for the sake of it's getting into a bit of a bidding war for the content, but I'm going to leave it for now. Trav, you can have Isaiah Katoa for $700,000.
All right, I'm locking that in. So what I'm disappointed is that you didn't argue because I did my homework. So Katoa is currently market value is $650K. So I went to do I put $50K above it, going that's what I want. I've already got Ponga, so I've already got that dude. So I'm happy to have an up and coming superstar. Katoa is ready to go. So I wanted to pay, and I've gone around sort of $700K, which I think is pretty good.
Everyone in the comments has said it's fair, so that's a tick on the board, I reckon. Yeah, maybe 750
ridiculous.
could have been something, but look, 7, I'll give it to him. He has just paid 1.3 for Ponga, so 2 million in the cap already for 2 players in the end, so he's balanced it out quite well. So for the Christchurch Cap Dodgers, which is coached by Trav, he has got Ponga 1.3 and Isaiah Katoa 700K. For me, alrighty, let's open this up. Nathan Cleary, I'm going 1.4 mil off the bat.
Well, I also would like Nathan Cleary. And I'm willing to
He's got 400 left over.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of extra dosh sitting in there. So you've said 1.4. I'm willing to go 1.5.
I'll go 1.55.
I'll go 1.6.
Oh, I've already got Turbo 1.3, so any higher, I'm going to be 3 million in 2 players. Oof.
Take
Call
on what you
himself the
just said.
Newcastle Knights.
Take on what you just said. New club. You got to pay up for it.
1.7. 1.7 I'm giving Nathan Cleary.
I'm willing to go 1.75.
Oh.
I'll tell you this. That's my final offer. I'll be honest with you. That's my
1.75.
final offer. 1.75 is my final offer.
Yeah, Shem.
Yeah, you know what? I'll let you have the Penrith connection. You can have Cleary for $1.75 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I just want you to know I could have stitched you up so hard then because I could have let you have that and you would have been absolutely stuffed. But it's fine. I am willing to take it based. I'm willing to take that 100%. Nathan Cleary, join the squad.
I wanted to go. Imagine having Turbo your fullback and Nathan Cleary your half. I was all set into that, but that's okay. That helps me free up a little bit of cash elsewhere. So for Jake, the Condobolin Rams, coached by Jake, Edwards fullback 850K, Cleary 1.75. So he's come back up with us, the big boys. It's almost even between there. Yeah, a few in the comments. I reckon that's very fair. And is that for 10 years, Jake? Is that what you're signing for? I think if it was a 10-year deal.
10-year deal.
It's
He's with us
increased.
forever.
Gets to about 2 million. Thanks in the comments. Don't do it. Yeah, let it go, Joel. I agree. Shem, I'm on Team Trav. The Christchurch men, look out. The old Joel. Yeah, you know what? The old Joel probably would have, but my backup plan was a guy we haven't seen step foot onto the training, not the training paddock, but the NRL field yet. Mitchell Moses. Now let's see what I can get away with here. I'm happy to give Mitchell 1.2.
No, so currently he's on 1.3. So Zero Tackles put him as 1.3 as his value. So don't be dodgy.
And if you were to sign him for next year, I'd have to go, I reckon 1.4 to be honest.
Oh, what?
If I'm being honest, I reckon that's genuinely where he's at.
Oh,
he did just win an Origin series.
Give it to me.
He's proven it.
1.3. You won't give me Mitchell Moses at 1.3 market value.
Well,
comments. What do you think? What do you think Moses is worth in the comments? Let us know.
You're trying to sign him. Remember, you're trying to sign him across. So you have to go a touch over. Don't you have to go a touch over what?
He doesn't have to travel far. He's got to go down to Jamboree where he gets to control the action for a start. And he's going to be involved in the action for the Eels wrestling for most of the year. If Cleary's 1.7, I agree. What Moses is.
Look at the other two. You can't skip the other two people that both said 1.4.
Okay. All right. You know what? The comments have taken over. Moses, I'll have to sign him 1.4 million. So I've got Turbo.
He just skips over the two other 1.4s.
Yeah, I'll lock it in. 1.4. Leon, 1.45. You're yourself. I've got now Turbo 1.3 and Moses 1.4. So I've gone big very early in my fullback and halfback. So next week, let's get a bit of fun happening, and let's go to our centers. Actually, we'll go into the center. So that'll be 2 players for next week. We'll lock in our center pairing for that one. Now, let's get into our tips for round 5. Obviously, let me just say this before we get into it. Round 4, if you got anything over probably 2, you simply don't get rugby league. I just want to let you know that now, because what the hell was that week? What did we just witness? Because I got a big fat 2. I was winning the tipping comp, but I don't think I am anymore. So gone downhill with everything. Yeah, Brent, you know what? We've got a very good physio. It's called Jelly Wrestling. So
you'll need more than a physio. You need surgeons. You need bloody anesthetists. Oh man. To be fair, last week you're right. Two. I said on the podcast. I think I tipped that. I said on the podcast I went the Rabbitohs and the Wars, and then when I went to actually do the tips, I didn't do it. So I could have ended up with. I could have. Actually, I think I said the Titans too. But yeah. Anyways.
So the Titans. I remembered Keeney was out, and I was like, "Nah, I'll go back to the Roosters," and it didn't matter at all. So, alrighty, our tips. So Raiders versus the Sharkies at Canberra, or in Canberra, a Thursday night game. Jakey boy.
I just realized I hadn't done it. Who was it again?
Raiders versus Sharks.
Sharks. Raiders haven't. They didn't step up last week. I don't think they'll step up this week. Neither did Sharks, but I think Sharks will step back up.
Trav.
Oh, what an interesting game, eh? Like, we all said that the Raiders were going to go up to the Cowboys on a ride and give them a bit of a touch-up, and then they got touched up. I would say that Sticky Ricky's going to give them a bit of a ride again this week, and they're going to go here. But I still think that even with the ride that they're going to lose to the Sharks. I just can't see the Sharks losing 2 in a row here after what happened on the weekend. So, yeah, I've got the Sharks.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if Sharks want to be a dead set contender in this competition and be a top 4 side, they need to bounce back here. They don't want to be losing back-to-back games this early. First of the Friday games, Cleary is back. They are celebrating Isaiah Yeo. I think it's 250, which is a huge milestone for him. Absolute stalwart of the competition, and for the Penrith Panthers. They're versing the Cowboys at CommBank Stadium. Very firm favourites in this one, the Panthers, and I am backing them after losing 3 on the trot. They will not be losing 4, and I anticipate this could be a scoreline as well. I feel like there might be a Cleary that is very, very determined to get his side back into the good books. I'd be very scared if I was the Cowboys, Jake.
100%. Yeah, I think they've had losing 3 in a row. They're going to have a bit of a we've got to get back on track here moment. And I think, yeah, you're right. It's going to be a bit of a flogging.
Trav?
I don't think it's going to be a flogging. I think Penrith have just got too many injuries. I'm clearly backing Penrith to win, but I don't think it's going to be a flogging. I think the loss of Toto is a big loss. They're replacing Toto with Casey McLean. I'm not sold on that. Casey McLean got dropped last week for a second gamer in Jenkins, who played fullback the week before that. So I think there's a bit of angst around Penrith at the moment. But, I'm clearly backing them. They're clear favourites at $1.22. Cowboys are $4.30. I'd steer clear of any of those sorts of things. But,
Sydney battle is on next, the Friday showdown. The Rabbitohs against the Roosters. Latrell is back, guys. He's been named at centre. Jai Gray holding that fullback position. Trav, who you got?
I've got the Rabbitohs.
Jakey boy.
Here come the Rabbits, mate.
Yeah.
Glory.
Glory indeed. I think the Bunnies might do a number on the Roosters this weekend. Actually, I think Latrell will get at least a try, if not a double, and really
put prediction Latrell for a Hattie.
Trip.
Hattie, look out. I think he's how fit's he? I know people have spoken about it already, but how fit does he look? Like, it's actually ridiculous. I've never seen him so fit. He's looking good.
Scary.
He's looking good. Fortunately, we have said that a few times in the past, and it hasn't gone ideal, but we will see. First of the Saturday games, the Eels against the Dragons. So Lomax back up against the Dragons, and the King Gutho up against the Eels. CommBank Stadium, this will be held. So back-to-back games at CommBank. Obviously, they've got the Panthers game the night before. Jake, who you got?
I've got the Dragons until I see some sort of sign that the Eels are genuinely making any amount of improvement, I will continue to tip against them. As much as it hurts me, it is what it is. I don't think they're going to win.
I am tipping the Dragons as well. Unfortunately, I think they looked very good on the weekend. They just beat the Storm. So surely they can keep that form going. They had the bye. They had a big rev up, apparently, a big team chats, things like that. So I don't think that wears off after just 1 week. So I think Power in the firing line here for a bit of a pan, especially after last time they played. Remember that huge high-scoring game that happened? I think they'll be a bit disappointed from that one as well. They'll be trying to make a statement and show they can do those performances back-to-back. And I've got the Dragons in this one. Trav?
I'm very far away from what Nix is saying there with Para 42, Dragons 2. But
wow,
mate, I couldn't hit the Dragons on my tips quicker.
Is Moses and Gutho back in for Parramatta or something for 42 too? The late change.
Yeah, and Nathan Hindmarsh and Sterlo.
They're all back. Queensland Derby. The Titans. I know Jesse loves these Queensland derbies. Every time I see him, I just shout out to you, Jesse. He goes, "There's one every week." Titans. At the Gold Coast, so Cbus Stadium. Trav, who you got in this one?
Easy Titans.
Ooh, easy as well, Jake.
Yeah, Titans as well. Tipping the Dolphins has yet not worked out for me, so I haven't done it for a while, and so far that's been working out for me better.
Yep, I will be going the Titans, but I think this will be a lot closer than we think. Maybe it was the weather, I'm not too sure, but the Dolphins were able to stick with a very good Broncos side for a lot of it, and who knows, that 40-20 that was not called when Cobbo stepped on the line might have been a huge game changer there for the Dolphins. So interesting to see what happens there. The Broncos against the Tigers at Suncorp, the last of the Saturday games. Jake?
Broncos. As well as the Tigers are doing, I just think that the Broncos they're all class all over the park. And the Tigers haven't shown that they can win a tight one if it comes to that. And I don't think it'll come to that.
Shout out to you, Curtis. Just a heads up, if you are a keen multi-better and like to talk betting, we do have an aspect of that in our Legends group. $2.99 per month. We do at the start of each round. We start a thread, I guess, or a comment section, and we just put all our multis in there. And been doing quite well so far to start the year. Obviously, gamble responsibly. But if you are interested, want to talk some betting things like that, please become it. It's not just Supercoach. There is some NRL stuff in there, and there is a betting aspect to that as well. That's for anyone out there as well who might be keen. But yeah, and just on the Tigers, they are without Jerome Luai for this one, which I think could be huge and telling. I think the Broncos might do this one and pull the Tigers' pants down a little bit. I don't want to say, but I feel like the Broncos might be on. If this is dry, if this is dry, I feel like this could be a big, sort of one of those, they win by 24, 30 points or something. I think they could put on a bit of a show. Trav?
Yeah, this is an easy one. Pick the Broncos.
Yeah. Nate, you're spot on here. Haas versus May.
It's going to be awesome to see.
New South Wales Blues prop forward rotation. I reckon they'll be the starting middles to start game one. That'll be fantastic to see. First of the Sunday games, Manly against the Storm. Second versus fourth. Very disappointing that Turbo is not in this one because they didn't manage his injury properly. So it would have been nice if they held him back and let him play in this one fully fit, but that's a different story.
Because he wasn't fully fit last week. But
we won't open that can of worms once again, guys. But I've got the Storm in this one. I think they bounce back. They won't lose 2 in a row. I would have hated to be a Storm player this week with Bellamy foaming at the mouth every training session. Oh, actually, sorry, coming up. Oh, it's only Tuesday. I just remembered. Trav?
Yeah, I've got the Storm coming back after that loss last week. They'll be disappointed.
Jake?
Yep, same plan there. I'm hoping, I don't know, I haven't looked at the weather, but I'm hoping it's not raining because I think that's going to be an awesome game on a dry track.
Yeah, no, I agree. The hill, it'll be packed. Maybe a Battle of Brookie. Maybe it comes back. Maybe a bit of biff. Yeah, Katoa versus Olakau'atu this time, mate. Brent, that would be. We don't want to condone violence in the game, not by any stretch of the imagination, but that's worth the price of admission alone. The old saying. Last one, the Doggies versus the Knights to round out the round 5 games. Trav, who you got?
The Bulldogs.
Jake?
Bulldogs 13 plus, but not like a major flogging. I think that they do similar to what they did to the Sharks.
Ooh, yeah. I think they'll strangle the Knights and they'll absolutely destroy Kalen Ponga's attacking prowess, which will piss Knights off a lot, and they'll just completely lose control of the game. So I think Dogs 13 plus is a really, really good shout in this one. All right, get your questions in. We'll handle them for about 5 or 10 minutes. It's been a long one, so we'll quickly answer the ones from the post, and then we will do any that are from the podcast here that you guys do throw in late for us. Again, remember, it's not just NRL questions. If you got anything you want to know or any off-the-topic ones, ask them as well. They're the better ones. Away from footy are the best ones. We love those ones. So back to the posts. Shannon McIntyre, after the performances of the top teams this round, do you honestly believe the NRL Premiership race is wide open, or is it just a matter of time before the dominant teams pull away? I think it's just a matter of time, especially for the likes of the Storm, the Broncos, depending on what happens with this whole Cherry Evans drama and how the playing group react and how long Turbo's out for. Manly might continue on. The Dogs will be up there as well. So I feel like they'll just start to creep forward. They'll start winning the games they might have to. Penrith I haven't mentioned, but me and Jake spoke about this on Sunday as well. I think if Penrith has started, they've got to be careful here, because if they do lose Nathan Cleary again for a certain amount of time, and they are already lost 3 and they're 3-1, I think, at the moment in terms of losses, they don't want to get too many more and be sort of like 6-2 or something, and they're really chasing their tail. Not downing them at all. They'll definitely be able to do it, but that's additional pressure knowing already you're carrying your premium player who's already got injury question marks regularly. You don't want to be putting yourself into that sort of category. So I think it'll start to open up, but I think there might be one big name team that might start to drop. I'm not sure who, but there could be a shock. Trav?
I don't think the season's open up. I think the weekend was just an anomaly, man. There was so much rain. It was just so wet. I think the teams like the Broncos had to oh yeah, I read the same thing, and I'm glad you. But I just think the weather on the weekend was an anomaly, and it certainly brought the pack down. That's not going to happen very often. On a dry track, I think these games would have been different. So I think the clear pack to the top is what it is.
Chris, here's a question: have you ever Googled echidna penis? I haven't. No. I have not. I'll make sure after this episode.
That's something on the forefront of my mind normally to Google.
Yeah,
penis, but, you know.
This might be, and I think Brent's mentioned this with the Panthers as well as they'll lose players in Origin. That's probably already a couple of losses there, so they might quickly enter some dangerous territory, which will be interesting to see how they handle it. I'm very keen to see that. Anything else to add for that question, Jake? Because we've got one for you now. We've got a question for you.
But let me guess, the Supercoach. I actually believe that it is a little bit open. I think the bottom 4 will be the bottom 4 for the year. But I think other than that, I reckon there's no one other above them that could not make the 8. That's the way I see it.
What looks of it you have, and then Brent never got to that category on those websites. Oh, goodness. All right, here we go, Jake. Concentrate here. T-Mac, he's got a day in. He's in a day early, but this means this Supercoach question gets directed to yourself. Sorry, T-Mac. Maybe just ask this question tomorrow night so the professionals can handle it. Thoughts on trading Garrick to Jenkins? Garrick has peaked, no turbo, and tough upcoming draw. Bank the 565K and upgrade everywhere else. Also, Reece Walsh are trading. Bottomed out versus Tigers. 4 out of 5 games at Suncorp. Has been playing horribly and still averaging 54. Perfect flex option. Don't have to play him, but reap the rewards when he goes large. Going to get 2 of Pappenhausen, Walsh, and Campbell. Double question mark. Take it away,
Walsh,
mate.
Walsh, not a trade in the way I see it. He's too many rocks, not enough diamonds at the moment. I wouldn't trade him in for sure. As for the other one, I can't remember who you said. It was
trading Garrick to Jenkins and banking yourself 565k.
It depends on what your center wing looks like. If you've got a strong other center wing and you can use that money somewhere else, I see no reason why not. But Garrick's, I definitely don't think that Garrick's going to perform poorly, and the Manly continue to play good, and a lot of their attack goes through him. So it's only if you have a good center wing that I would do that.
Hey,
and you have to have some other plan for it.
Can I just point something out there for you? Turbo didn't play the week before, and how many tries did Garrick get?
Yeah,
4.
Yeah,
4. Yeah, I'll be holding Garrick. I think he's almost a keeper status. So
and they're replacing. They're replacing Turbo with Hopewadi. Yeah, he's
still a gun.
He's not a spud.
I wouldn't do it unless you have a really solid plan and the rest of your center wings are guns.
Yeah, and you don't want to get yourself into a trap where, and we're getting to Supercoach here, but you don't want to go all into sort of these bottom dollar guys and stuff and lock that into center wings, because heads up, there's a guy called Jacob Kraz that is in the reserves this week. He's very much inching closer to getting a start, and as soon as he's basically back, I'll be getting all onto him, and we need to have the cash somewhere to jump onto him, because for mine, I had him from the start. I was so set on him before his injury, and he's a Supercoach gun. So he'll be straight back into my side as soon as he is back and looking himself. Last one for the original questions from the post. Leon Borgen, I think he's been in here, so let's see if he's still here and we won't embarrass him. Okay, sorry for the long one, but I was watching the Dragons versus Storm on the time second half, 30 minutes and 40 seconds. So just if you guys can quickly go to that, that'd be awesome. We'll bring it up on the big screen. Cookie was tackled around the legs when Warbrick comes in my opinion, was body slammed in a wrestling type maneuver and put Cookie in the head bin. My question is, why was that at the least Warbrick on report or sent for 10 plus for a dangerous tackle? P.S. Love your work, guys. Love you as well, Leon. Thanks for the love. Nothing but love. Hello, Josh, as well, mate. How's things, brother? I can't remember this, to be honest.
It feels like just another example of inconsistency in refereeing. Yeah. I don't know the exact incident. Like I can't talk to the exact incident because I haven't gone back and looked at it or anything like that, of course. But if it is as bad as sort of he said it is, then I'd imagine it's just another one of those examples of just inconsistent refereeing. And that's kind of what the whole discussion was earlier about that whole, there's a crackdown coming. So I think that's pretty much, I hope that answers the question, but basically, inconsistency in refereeing is kind of what happened last week.
You did a good job. The only thing you failed to mention was the fact that it's the Storm and they're absolute grubs. So they just do this every time. So we
do have a point of that, yeah.
We'll end up with 13 players in the sin bin if we actually crack down on this, which would be unfortunate.
Oh, I want to see it.
Trav, sorry, mate. I'll go to you now. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I did. So I saw that tackle, and then I saw the question. So I went and had a look at the
what a guy.
The replay. So I watched the replay before I came in. Leon is a very articulate man. He's articulated that question really well to get a response like Jake. That's perfect. There was nothing wrong with that tackle, in my opinion. Nothing wrong with that tackle. Unfortunately, Damien Cook got that. Most of Damien Cook's head knock out of that was his rebound off the ground, not because of a shoulder coming through or doing anything from what Warbrick did. I have no problems with that. The other telling sign of that was there was no ramifications or anything from the players. None of the players actually came and did anything to him. It was just a hit. It was just the way the game was. Unfortunately, an unfortunate hit. He got binned for the HIM. He came back. So I don't see anything wrong with that.
I'm with you, Leon. Grubs. End of the game, grubs. Brent, I agree with you. Just grubs. So, Cook stayed down to get a penalty, and then they used HIA for free interchange. There you go. There's an Eels fan supporting a Storm fan. We don't say that every day. That's great.
Very rare.
last question. So they'll go to a few that was on the page now on the show now. Mark Brown, question for later. Para forward pack is missing some mongrel. Who should they look to fix this? Cheers. We looked at this and did a post about this the other last week. Actually, we did our in-depth sort of look into next year. Good looking post. Actually, I'll give Josh a bit of a wrap. He's behind the scenes for us, doing some great things content wise. Helped him out a bit with things as well. But there's not a whole lot happening next year in terms of player wise. There's a couple of young forwards. The guy at the Titans who is wanted to go early, but I'm pretty sure he's going to the Dogs. His name has escaped my mind at the moment. But there's a couple. I'd probably go young. I'd look to go young and build, but there's not a whole heap to look at the moment. Jake, anyone sticks out?
I actually was looking because no one really sticks out for the 2020 off contract 2025. But there's a fair few really gun players off contract 2026 that if we could try to get them across early, I'd like to sort of see. Sean Bloor pops into my mind from the Storm. If we could poach him, that'd be incredible. I don't think it's going to happen, but there's a fair few. He's someone I'd like to look at, but there's way more off contract 2026. I'm not going to go through all of them. There's way more off contract in 2026 than there are now. Like even at the Roosters, there's Nafu White and Siua Wong. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. There's a fair few more in 2026. I'd like to try to get them across and try to see if we could convince them to come across early.
That gets me excited. Wong, I would love Wong at the side, but alrighty, that is it, guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Sorry,
I got sent a very funny photo. I'm not sure if you can actually see it.
Is it an echidna penis?
It's a 4X. Something to do with cat piss.
Daily come home
to the state that gives you
that gives 4X.
That's pretty good.
How good is that? One of the people in the group in the chat sent that to me just then, and I got distracted. So just wanted to show everyone. Well played.
Well played. Good night, guys. Thank you for joining once again. Huge show. Keeps building and building, which we absolutely love and appreciate. Supercoach Edition will be out tomorrow night. Make sure you go listen to that one. If you haven't already, give the Sunday Review Show a listen as well. Love it, heart it, whatever you got to do. Please do it to support. Social media, go be across all of it. Thank you to Freedom Finance once again and TC Coolers. We gave away one of the coolers for the birthday. We've given away the Magic Round tickets. So message the page if you did win any of that. But for now, goodbye. Good night. Cheers. Jakey boy, Trav.
Queensland. Let's go.
I've got nothing.
Also, is that 6 figures on the one hand because you're a Queensland supporter? Or I just didn't quite catch.
Hey man, you were born in Tasmania, weren't you? Not me.
Good night, guys. Good